Final Fantasy, a series I absolutely love and a series that I want as many people as humanly possible to be able to experience. And thanks to recent events with Final Fantasy collaborating with Magic of the Gathering and all of the Final Fantasies actually being available on all modern platforms, there is no better time than to get into the series like the present. And in today's video, I'm going to be going over what your first Final Fantasy should be by going through a selection of Final Fantasies that I've picked. The most interesting thing about this video is I think that people that are going to click on this video are going to be people that have already played Final Fantasy and really want to see what my opinions are. And if you are one of those people, please comment in the comment section down below and help me out. Let's get as many more people playing Final Fantasy. Throw your suggestions down in the comment section because I love this series and I want us to talk about this series and just have good times. So with that all being said, what is up guys, Jen here, hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the channel. As always, got your cool timestamp, so if you want to skip to a certain Final Fantasy in this video, feel free to do so. All I ask is you to support the channel and hit that like button, and if you want to stick around for some more Final Fantasy content, then please consider hitting that subscribe button. I'm going to dive straight in with a selfish one, and this is going to be Final Fantasy VII. Why, Jen? Why Final Fantasy VII? Well, Final Fantasy VII was my first and then became my favorite of the series. Now, it might not be the 90s anymore. We are in 2025. Times have changed and the game has definitely aged. But allow me to set the scene. The game follows Cloud Strife, a former soldier of the mega corporation Shinra, who joins the eco-terrorist group Avalanche to stop Shinra from draining the planet's life energy, known as the Lifestream, to produce Mako energy. As Cloud and his allies battle Shinra, a greater threat emerges. Sephiroth! A former elite soldier with a god complex, Sephiroth seeks to absorb the planet's energy by summoning Meteor, a catastrophic force, and become a god-like being. And I'm just going to leave it there. Final Fantasy VII is a real good Final Fantasy when it comes to its story and its plot twists. It's something you truly need to experience, but its gameplay systems is where it shines also. Of course, we have the classic turn-based battles with the ATB system. There are many characters that bring a lot of their own abilities to the table, but the thing that shines the most is the materia system, a system of where you have these orbs and they have magic or support abilities, and as you go through more battles you level those up and then really come with some insane combinations. It's to the point of where I still see people use different combinations to this day, and it is a treat to see. Final Fantasy VII has loads of towns and places to explore, a wonderful world map, and great music to accompany it all. Honestly, this is just a personal one from me. If you want to start, play Final Fantasy VII. But like I said, it's not the 90s anymore. We're in 2025. We do have a port on the PlayStation 4, Xbox, PC that allows you to have the speed up options or God mode or no encounters if you're just there for the story. But I think you should just leave that all to the side and go for the Steam version and use it with mods. The Seventh Heaven mod launcher, I've got a video in the top corner, is where it's at, and it will give you the best possible experience to make it feel more modern when it comes to Final Fantasy VII. And don't worry, if you don't own Final Fantasy VII, I have got you sorted thanks to our partners at Instant Gaming. Instant Gaming is a website where you can find thousands of Steam games at incredible prices, including a majority of the Final Fantasies. Using my link down below, you can go on the website, have a browse. It's not just limited to Final Fantasy. There is a plethora of games for you to choose from. And again, you are saving so much using the link down below. Not only are you supporting the channel, but you are saving money. And it doesn't stop there. I also have a giveaway to give you the ability to grab any game off the website. All you got to do is click the link and hit that participate button. Thanks to Instant Gaming and happy shopping. What a segue, I know. Final Fantasy VII is definitely a Final Fantasy you want to consider as your first. let's take it back even further. I think a good Final Fantasy that should be your first Final Fantasy, if you are daring to tackle the series in its chronological order, is Final Fantasy 1. This originally released way back in 1987. It started it all. So if you want to know what the series is all about and how it's evolved over time, and you have the patience, then Final Fantasy 1 is where it's at. The game takes place in a high fantasy world plagued by darkness and elemental imbalance. The 4 elemental crystals, earth, fire, water and wind, which once sustained life and prosperity, has lost their light. You play as the Warriors of Light, a party of 4 heroes. Their identities and origins are left mostly vague, allowing you, the player, to customize and choose the roles of these party members as you see fit. So Final Fantasy 1 adopts an early rendition of the job system. It has evolved over time, but this is where it's at. You get to pick what you want: a black mage, white mage, thief, monk, warrior, whatever it may be. You get to choose the party and you get to go through Final Fantasy 1. It's very much an A to B game. You've got to talk to the NPCs and then go to the next one. Very bare bones, but if you want to tackle it, Final Fantasy 1 Pixel Remaster is where it's at, and then you are already in and you can go through the rest of the numbered titles. Let's have a look at the next Final Fantasy. I think this next one is a good go-to, and that is Final Fantasy IV. Final Fantasy IV follows the journey of Cecil Harvey, a Dark Knight and captain of the Red Wings, the airship fleet of the Kingdom of Baron. He was ordered by his king to steal magic crystals from innocent nations. Cecil begins to question his loyalty and the morality of his actions. Final Fantasy IV is probably the most pure and basic Final Fantasy of getting everything you want out of a Final Fantasy. You have a pretty good story, a great cast of characters for you to explore with all their own abilities, good world to explore, great music to experience, the birth of the ATB system from when it was evolving from its turn-based roots, and it's just overall a good experience. It's a nice, solid Final Fantasy experience, and you will get everything you want. If you are wanting more gameplay than story, I would go with Final Fantasy V, and I would love to give Final Fantasy V a spot in this video, but Final Fantasy IV is probably the better one to start off with. If you like it, move on to Final Fantasy V, because you'll have a ball of a time when it comes to its job system and its replay value. But back to 4. The Pixel Remaster is probably the best experience you can have, the most accessible one, though the PSP version is a pretty good version as well. And if you end up falling in love with that world, you have a compilation of games that you can play alongside Final Fantasy IV as well. I believe it's Interlude and the After Years. Next up, we have a Final Fantasy where I feel like would be the most suggested Final Fantasy. It came out during the PS2 era. It moved away from a lot of the elements that Final Fantasy was known for, but over time has become a cult classic and definitely one of my favorites of the series, and that is Final Fantasy X. This game takes place in the mystical world of Spira, a land plagued by a massive destructive creature known as Sin. You play the role of the star blissful player Tidus from the high-tech city of Zanarkand. You then meet Yuna, a kind-hearted summoner, on a pilgrimage to defeat Sin, and I think I'm going to leave it there for the story because it has a special place in my heart. But when it comes to first-time Final Fantasy gameplay, this has a great turn-based system with layers of strategy, a great leveling up system through its sphere grid. Again, the cast of characters, both in their abilities and their personality, really adds to the table. There is an absence of a world map in this one, but it definitely makes up for it in its locations and just the general pacing of Final Fantasy X. It is the first Final Fantasy that got voice acted as well, and it's definitely stood the test of time, and it is why it's so highly regarded to be a Final Fantasy that should be your first. There's also some mini games that you might find frustrating. If you wanted to do everything, you might be riding some chocobos, dodging some lightnings, and running away from a couple of cactuars here or there. But all in all, Final Fantasy X is absolutely great, and I think this is where a lot of the people will rally behind. If I'm wrong and it's something else, then I'll be. But Final Fantasy X is definitely a Final Fantasy you want to consider, and you can pick that up through its remaster, though it kind of destroys a couple of the face textures. There's mods that can fix that, and I have a video up in the cards that you can have a look at to fix that to get the best experience from Final Fantasy X. This next one I've recently replayed, and I think it's very true to what it says when you boot this game up. It's a Final Fantasy for first timers and long time fans alike. It was a real good experience revisiting it, and I'm talking about Final Fantasy XV. Final Fantasy XV is set in the world of Eos, a land divided among several nations. The Kingdom of Lucis, ruled by King Regis, possesses a magical crystal protected by the royal line. The Empire of Niflheim, a technologically advanced militaristic nation, seeks to conquer all of Eos and seize the crystal. We play as Noctis Lucis Caelum, the Crown Prince of Lucin, chosen by fate to battle darkness, and he is accompanied by his bros, Gladius, Ignis, and Prompto, for what has to be the best road trip of a lifetime. Honestly, just chilling out with the four bros and just having a great time with this game is just something to experience. It moves away from the turn-based completely, edging itself towards a action-based combat system, but it's an easy one to get to grips. Though there is a lot of controversy when it comes to its story and the way it's been layered through various pieces of media, I still feel like you can play the Royal Edition and get your bang for your buck and be satisfied, and have that option to sort out more lore if needed. But for the gameplay experience, the world to explore, and just the general nods to Final Fantasies that came before it, it is a really good Final Fantasy to get into. And me revisiting it, I completely forgot of how much Final Fantasy it did feel while playing it. You have all the classic tropes hidden amongst there, and just a chill vibe with the boys cruising around the world of Eos and having a real good time. I do think it's one you should definitely consider of being your first Final Fantasy. And last but not least, I guess maybe this is also a selfish reason, or maybe not, but we're returning to the world of Final Fantasy VII, and maybe you're wanting something more modern than a modern mod of the PC version, and we're going to be going with Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm not going to go too much into the story. I think it's something you just need to dive into yourself. I think the most appealing thing for someone to play this game is its combat system and the way it tells its first part of its story, because for those that don't know, it's been broken up into three parts. We have Remake, we have Rebirth, and in the future we have Return coming, and this is the start of that journey. And I think it's a great Final Fantasy to just dive into, because once you get through Remake, you probably want to play the other parts as well. And not only that, you will have the option to maybe explore more of the world of Final Fantasy VII, go back to the original, of which we spoke about at the beginning of the video, or maybe dive in deeper into some of its characters and play a game like Crisis Core. Maybe you might dig out an old PS2 and play Dirge of Cerberus. I don't know, but I do think Final Fantasy VII Remake is going to be really accessible, especially with it coming out on the Switch 2 as well. There is no better time than now to play it. It has a great hybrid, or a meet in the middle kind of system when it comes to its action and its old school turn-based waiting from the OG. It finds that perfect balance of where you can just pause in battle and rethink your strategy. Oh, that enemy's weak against fire, let me select my fire spell, make sure I've got enough ATB for that, and just have an overall good time. And then once you've done that, Rebirth takes it to a whole new level in all of its aspects, in its combat, its world, its mini games, and everything else in between. Some people might tell you that it's a little bit too much, but honestly, I loved every moment of it. But you already know from the beginning of this video that I'm quite the Final Fantasy VII stan, but that's just a personal opinion of mine. I think it's a great one to dive in when it comes to Final Fantasy and it being your first. And there we have it, a nice small collection of Final Fantasies for you to dive in, which I feel like covers quite a lot of Final Fantasies from all genres. The ones that I've missed out isn't because I don't think they're good Final Fantasies, I just don't think they're good Final Fantasies to dive into as your first. I think if you do decide to dive into the original Final Fantasy VII, why not carry that on with 7, 8 and 9? Final Fantasy 4, you've got Final Fantasy 5 and 6 following that. If you decide to go play Final Fantasy 1, you can go through all of them. But Final Fantasy 15 does what it says on the tin, and if you really enjoy that action element of Final Fantasy 15, you have Final Fantasy 16. So I do feel like these options give you the opportunity to branch off into other Final Fantasies as well. And we have not even touched all of the spin-off games, but I'm really interested to hear, because I know, again, a lot of you have come here, already play Final Fantasy. What are you doing here? This is for the first timers. No, stick around, let us know in the comment section below. Let's get a good list of Final Fantasies. Let's get more people involved with the series, and let's forever thrive and await the next Final Fantasy. I appreciate your time. Don't forget to visit Instant Gaming. Thanks for listening, and until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side.